PMC Cargo Dispatch 559. We're requesting drop-off clearance for delivery 13 Omega.
Affirmative. Deposit delivery in docking bay 1. Be advised, micrometeor storm approaching. Expedite your business. PPMC delivery 13 Omega. Warning. Contents hazardous.
Hey guys, just give you an update here. What's going on? We're waiting about 15 minutes. We're hoping to have some guests on today. They have not shown up yet, so we're going to delay by about 15 minutes before we get started. So stay tuned. Thanks.
Self-Destruct sequence activated. Self-Destruct in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast. I'm Ronkley.
And I'm Morpha. Thank you very much for joining us. It is Saturday, April 16th, and this is episode 22.
And for those watching us on Twitch, apologies for the delayed start today. We had an interview lined up, but unfortunately we're going to need to reschedule that. That's why we were just checking to see if maybe they'd show last minute. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But we do have a slight bit of news this week. Of course, yesterday, Friday, on text. Well, I guess yesterday isn't technically tax day because like some kind of holiday and they had to move it to the 8th, whatever. So yesterday, Soul Contingency made its release of its multiplayer platform called Proving Grounds, which is available over at soulcontingency.com or soul-contingency.com or preparefordescent.com. Tons of ways you can get over there. And definitely check that out. They've got forums. They've got links to download. You can see screenshots, video of the game. Definitely check it out. It's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I've been a bit busy with a couple things, but you can download it. It's very quick to install. I had no problems installing the game whatsoever. So definitely check that out. And again, that's over at soulcontingency.com. And so what's going on in your world there, Morphod? You're not gonna be here for a couple weeks?
How do I put this? How do
As
I
you
put
always
this
do.
delicately? Probably the easiest way to say it is, what are the conditions for optimal charged particle lithography? What are the types of emission sources for electrons in charged particle lithography? How do beam energy and beam current affect spot size?
Does this have anything? Does this have anything to do with a fusion cannon?
No, that's not quite how that works.
Darn it.
But in plain speak, it's just I got finals coming up, real nasty beginning half of this upcoming week, and doesn't really let up until Friday of 2 weeks from now. So I will likely only be popping in and out for a couple events. I might be at the observatory as a player, but that's about it. So sorry you don't get to listen to my sweet, wonderful, delicious voice for a short time.
Well, with that said, hopefully we can keep the show going. I'm hoping that we could perhaps maybe get a guest host or two for the coming weeks, because I did one solo show. I'd rather not do that again. There's nothing like really heavy hitting these coming weeks to really justify doing a quick show like that. But if anyone out there is interested in giving the old mic a try, just hit me up. I'll be posting over on our Facebook page and Twitter and a few other places. I'm sure you'll get some information on what you would need to get involved with that. So definitely, if you're interested, hit me up, let me know, and we'll go from there. So, like I said, really light on news. Nothing new in the Descent Underground universe. Nothing new in the Overload universe. So we're just going to go right into the community and review this week. Starting with the Descent Rangers, we have an ongoing co-op. This is the co-op event hosted by Sirius. They are playing the campaign The Enemy Within. Of course, the plan with that was to run this over the course of 2 of his events. But, I mean, this one's been going on for almost 3 hours now. So, they're doing that over at DescentRangers.com, of course. You can get the information to connect to Mumble and everything you need to get going. Of course, next weekend on the 23rd, they're hosting something called Omega Man, which is Descent 2 Horde in Keg Party with Omega cannons only. So it's going to be pretty silly. Of course, if you're not familiar with Horde, basically what happens is when you kill an opponent, they drop this little green orb, and you pick up the orb, and there's a designated goal or multiple goals on the map, and when you fly into the goals on the map, you score a certain number of points depending how many orbs you have. Well, what makes this mode particularly exciting is that the more orbs you have, you get way more points. Like, one orb's only worth 1, but if you have 2 orbs, that's 3. If you have 3 orbs, that's worth 6. If you have 4 orbs, that's worth 10. If you have 10 orbs, that's 55. You can get a ton of points. I think the most you can get is 78 with 12 orbs. So it's kind of a risk-reward type of thing, and it's a lot of fun. Descent 3 also had as a mode. We actually played that on LAN. I think Rethink was in that game. I want to say Foil was in that game, a couple D3 players. But it originated in Descent 2, and this is the original version of Horde. So if you're interested, check that over at DescentRangers.com. And, of course, next week, after the podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the 23rd, we're going to have The Observatory. Our 4th episode will be a little less silly. But I do want to get some trophy matches, and we already have one confirmed match, and it's going to be Melvin challenging Watts for the Fusion Trophy. How do you think that one's going to go?
I would say that is... I'm going to have to side with Melvin on this one. Watts may be an excellent Fusion pilot, but I know that Melvin has put up a number of good exhibition games against the Pro Fusion pilot from Gold, Bahamut. However, it should also be taken with a little grain of salt there, because we did see that Rethink beat up on Bahamut for defending the Fusion Trophy in the past week.
Indeed.
Nonetheless, the performance was strong enough against a traditionally strong Fusion pilot that I would put this in Melvin's hand. But he does have a little bit of trouble with latency over the mountains, and Watts has demonstrated that he is quite adaptable to the connections that he plays. So we'll see how it turns out.
All right. Very cool. So, yeah, definitely check that out. We have a lot of fun on the Observatory. It's definitely a cool experience if you haven't seen it yet. It's over at twitch.tv/Ronkly. We'll be talking about this again next week as well. So definitely check that out. And moving on to the DCL, I saw the report and saw that Bronze was kind of MIA this week. At least in terms of playing each other.
Not a lot of Bronze people playing each other, or even all that much playing against other tiers. In fact, it was pretty remarkable to see that there was only... oh goodness, I'm having a little bit of trouble reading this chart here. Because of the way it's organized, but yeah, there's not a lot of bronze on bronze activity. I think there was only 8 games.
Yeah, that was it. 8 games.
And if you add up what they're playing outside of the tier, it almost triples the amount. But either way, it's actually rather surprising on the DCL that matches within the tiers are very, very fierce, but matches between the tiers tend to be much more popular. And I often wonder what that is the case. Perhaps it's because it's a safe game to play. Not I'm going to win or I'm going to lose, but there's arguably less stress because the outcome may be a foregone conclusion unless somebody's really pushing for that dark horse.
Indeed.
Anyway, we got 100. Oh, actually, I should stop and thank you very much for this report. I used to compile everything by hand here, but Ronkly has stuck his dirty little fingers into the database and has auto-generated a much more readable compilation of a week's worth of stats.
Yeah, and in
turn,
turn,
me to build my report.
In turn, I must thank Dracona for making those stats available programmatically. That was really awesome.
Wonderful. And Lothar also raises a point that you have arguably twice as many opponents out of tier as in tier, even though the numbers would suggest that there are it's not a 2-to-1 ratio exactly, but they also have to consider the number of matchups as well. Probably grows much more quickly with twice as many potential opponents. There's going to be a much different rate of growth for number of matchups. Okay, in that case, we'll go into bronze summary for the week. We'll start off here with Static, who's played 10 matches. He's got a close bronze game, a 2015 win over Leto in Descent 2 Hilbert.
And I have to note, there have been a lot of Descent 2 games played this week.
Yeah, the bronze folks that have been playing a lot of Descent 2. And in fact, there's 5 Descent 2 games that Static has participated in. And it should also be noted that he's had close games against Phyrix, Skywarp, and Furno. But definitely leading one of the folks leading the charge with Descent 2 activity for one-on-one on the DCL, which is not an unwelcome thing by any means. A little bit of variety, possibly adding to the competitive appeal of the whole genre. Moving on, we got Skywarp playing 6 matches. 4 of those are Descent 2 matches, with a high win 2015 against Static in Descent 2 Neptune. And also has an excellent score against Ryusei 117 in Vamped. And where is that misplaced score? 15-20. Loss to Ryusei 117 in Vamped.
Excellent
job there by
again
Skywarp.
in Descent 2.
Yes.
Lots of Descent 2.
We also got Furno here, who's only really played 1 game, but it was a good one. It was 2016 against Static in Take 2. Phyrix has been the most active bronze pilot this week with 16 matches, is 3-0 against bronze, undefeated. High game 2017 against Static in Lurk. And also had a threatening score against Silver Pilot Ice Wolf, 18-20 in Neptune, which I also believe was a Descent 2 game. No, it's listed here as Descent 1.
Yes. It was interesting to see Ice Wolf's comments on that game. Of course, Ice Wolf is somewhere over in Europe. But
Germany, I believe.
But I think so is Phyrix. And they had a low ping game, which is not something that Ice Wolf is very used to.
I see.
So kind of how you are with the high ping games, it's kind of opposite for Ice Wolf. He's not comfortable on the low ping.
And I get annoyed at that performance in high ping games because I used to spar with AOD High all the time, and he's in Japan. So,
yeah.
But anyway, and then we have Big Rat playing 4 matches this week, and he hasn't played a single bronze pilot. He hasn't played a single silver pilot. He's only played gold pilots.
And I think that's more because the gold pilots were chasing him down.
Actually, he explicitly said he was waiting for me because he wanted to help restore the ladder. I said, what a good citizen.
And you repaid him by a 20-6 crushing. Nice job.
Well, it doesn't... I can scrub and scrub and scrub, but they don't make water hot enough. Whatever that quote is. Anyway, that's all we got for bronze news. And moving on, we've got... From the silver tier, we got Mo playing 4 matches. He's 1-0 against silver. And in that silver match, he managed to hold a fellow silver pilot to 10 points or less, and that was against Dry Guy. On top of that, he's also held established bronze pilots to 5 points or less, and he's done that twice against Static. And then we have Warmaster playing 10 matches. Nothing of significant note in... other than 1 close game in silver bracket, but he has been making noise against against gold. That's a 15-20 loss against Soldier in Logic, and then he did it again. And a 16-20 loss against Bahamut in Athena, so 3 threatening matches against the gold tier. Excellent work, Warmaster. Lady Silver has been playing quite a bit, 21 matches in this past week, is 1-6 against Silver, but marquee win. I normally put my threshold at 15, but given how the series has gone back and forth, a notable win against Maniac, 20-14 in Crimson. And that's against the current... That was a win against the current top silver pilot. So that's a sizable lead. So good job there. And has played 14 gold matches of those 21 matches. So only 7 were not against gold pilots and playing Mark 39.2, excuse me, this show it's 39.2. Mark 39.2, DJ CJR, Jedi, Luke, Bahamut, and Morph.
Did you say DJ CJR?
Yeah, DJ CJR. Played 2 games.
Interesting.
Am I pronouncing it wrong?
No, I'm.
It's DJ. All right.
I
anyway,
know. I
Deimos.
know who it is. It's just. Wait.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
DJ CJ.
I was
Wait.
pronouncing it wrong. Like, is it Mark
Has he
392
played? Has he played any
392,
other
DJ
games?
CJ or Jijikitchiker?
Has he played any other games this week?
Huh?
Has he played any other games this week?
I don't know. We'll see. He's
Okay.
gold tier, so we'll talk about that later. Deimos. Deimos has been sneaking around. He's played 5 matches. He's 2-0 against Silver with a marquee win 2016 against Melvin in Logic. We have Lothar Bot. Wait a minute. Isn't this fellow supposed to be gold? No. He accepted the demotion, has moved down to Silver bracket, and has played 7 matches. He's undefeated in Silver at this time with a notable game of an overtime victory, 23-21 against Lady Silver in Flea. On top of that, notable accomplishments in the last week has held Silver to 10 points or less. Has done that twice against Naphtha, and holding established bronze pilots to 5 points or less. Has done that once against Firix. So excellent showing from Lothar Bot.
Also,
Look for him.
important to point out that overtime win 23-21 came on the heels of a dominating win over Lady Silver 20-5 in Ascend.
Oh, I have that. That got cut off down at the bottom. You are correct. You are correct. That is holding another Silver pilot to 5 points or less. Excuse me. Good catch. So, Silver, if we thought it was just going to be exciting enough with Vaniac and Warmaster and Melvin and Deimos all in the mix in there, we're going to toss Lothar Bot in there. The only thing that could make it even more of a mess, honestly, I think would be if Mo was able to get on at the right times to play some of these other pilots.
Oh, yeah.
Then we have Melvin playing 27 matches this past week, is 3-5 against Silver. But most of his accomplishments are notable against gold pilots. That's right, a 17-20 game against Cyrus and Rip, a 17-20 game against Morphod in Ascend, and a 19-21 overtime loss to Cyrus in Logic, all 3 threatening gold pilots. But that's not quite enough. We got a 20-17 win against Cyrus and Rip, and a 20-14. That's right, 20-14 win against Cyrus in the mains level 2. It's not a common level to play.
Whoa. Is Rip still his home level?
Yes, that is correct. So that is a win and a loss with reciprocal scores against Cyrus in Cyrus's home level.
Nice. Well done.
So that's 2 dark horses for Melvin this week. And on top of that, additional accomplishments include holding established bronze pilots to 5 points or less. That is once against Firix. So excellent job by Melvin this week with the activity and the style of activity. Now, if only he could beat Deimos. Now, moving on to Vaniac. Vaniac sitting at top Silver. He's got 12 matches under his belt this week. Is 6-2 against Silver pilots. That includes a 2018 win against Warmaster and Fuse, 2017 against Melvin and Lurk, 2016 against Melvin and Agile, and 2016 against Melvin and Warzone. So he's got the top spot, and he's defending it pretty well. On top of that, he's had a threatening score against against a gold pilot. That's 17-20 against Cyrus in Salute. And I recall looking at the tracker for quite a bit there, it looked like it was something on the range of 17-19 for like a good whole 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, sorry, I got a slight diversion here. We're going to move on to gold tier. And in gold tier, we have Zero playing 6 matches. His 3-0 against gold with a notable score of 22-20 overtime win against Morphod in Flea. And has held a gold pilot to 10 points or less once, and that is, of course, me. And I will say that I flew off the handle at him and had such a poor and miserable, wretched attitude.
Uh-oh.
Applause to him for dealing with that. But finally, I realized that I just can't dogfight the guy.
Yeah, Zero's a tough dogfighter. I also want to point out, and this may be a spoiler alert, but Zero is the only pilot this week undefeated versus gold. The only pilot. No one else.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 of those wins were against me. So that's not really an accomplishment. Moving on, Bahamut playing 16 matches this past week is 2-5 against
gold pilots that are not Blue Orb, including a 2015 win over Soldier in Nysa and a 2016 win over Cyrus in Salute, with notable Blue Orb accomplishments of 1720 against Jedi Luke in Logic X2, 1820 against Jedi Luke in Logic X2, and 1720 against Jedi Luke in Wrath X4.
Those are some really nice scores.
Soldier playing 9 matches this week. He's got 4-1 against Gold Pilots. He's got a high game of 2017 against Bahamut and Dog Hell and 2015 against Cyrus and Vamped, and has held a fellow Gold Pilot to 10 points or less. Has done that once against Bahamut. Dracona has played 10 matches, all of them against Blue Orb, and notable scores there include a win.
Very nice.
20-17 win against Jedi Luke in Ascend X4. And now I realize something that your summary didn't do. I like to add up all of the trophies. Unfortunately, I
we
will
can add
not
that.
be able to mention how many trophy defenses there were this week. Moving on, Diablo has played 11 matches and is 3-1 against Gold Pilots that are not Blue Orb, including a 2018 win over Cyrus and Crimson and a Fusion Trophy Defense 2014 against Bahamut in a very strange level.
That's not strange. No, this is not strange. This is Mark's home level.
For a Fusion match, it's unusual to play in a standard level and just play only Fusion. Normally you go to a dedicated Fusion level like UG or Jaffle or...
Yeah, but when a map is as good as Wyndham is, you can play whatever you want in there.
Yeah, I have to say it's probably one of the most well-rounded maps that we have, and it's actually kind of a shame it's not one of the core levels. It really is a champions level, and you have to be playing at the absolute tip-top of your game in order to even have a chance in there. And most of the people who don't like it are simply bad at the game.
I think you may be getting
joke
some.
There. We're poking
I think
fun
you may
at
be getting
Mark
some
39-2, who
games.
absolutely abhors the level and is not scared of taking on a challenge in there. He just simply won't enjoy it. And additional compliments for Diablo this week include a Blue Orb victory 2016 over Jedi Luke and Flea X3. Moving on, we have Morphod playing 18 matches this week, is 1-5 against Gold Pilots that are not Blue Orb, and his only gold win was a 2017 victory over Cyrus in Ascend. And additional accomplishments include holding a Silver Pilot to 5 points or less, and that was once against Lady Silver. Cyrus. Cyrus is back and in fashion, apparently.
Oh, wow.
37 matches.
That's the Cyrus
Big
we know.
surprise.
I was going to say love, but I don't think we love him.
Would you believe that there's somebody who has more matches than that this week?
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. 37 matches out of Cyrus, 3-6 against Gold Pilots that are not Blue Orb. Marquee win, the 2018 victory over DJ CJR and Ascend. And on top of that, managed a shutout against an established Bronze Pilot, 20-0 against Static and Salute.
Oof.
And has 3 respectable scores against Blue Orb Pilot Jedi Luke. That's 15-20 for all 3 games in Crimson Ascend and Crimson X2. And then the man of the hour. In case you haven't visited the front of the Descent Champions website, something strange has happened. DJ CJR has played 5 matches this week and is 3-1 against Gold. And I'll just go down the other accomplishments because this other one is just too big. Has held Silver Pilot to 5 points or less twice against Lady Silver, and has ended the second longest gold streak, a 67-game gold streak, and has taken the #1 spot. That is right. DJ CJR is #1 on the ladder after a thrilling 22-20 overtime win against Mark 39-2 in Fused.
I think that's our match of the week for sure.
I think that's match of the season right there.
I also want to point out, we kind of left on a cliffhanger last week because when we went on the air last week, we had a game already played between Jedi Luke and Mark, and Mark did come away with that victory, but it was unable to keep it going the whole week. But, I mean, that is such a close match. That's amazing. And it's kind of funny because Dracona points out in the comments of that match, if you go to DJ CJR's pilot page and you look at his fall 2013 awards, he got an award that's named Randomly Show Up and Kick Badasses' Butts. And that's pretty much what he's done. That's what he's done. That's no other way to put it. That is
The,
very succinct.
the only other person that I've seen be able to do something like that as capably would be Soldier. These are
Right.
pilots who keep, it's not like riding a bicycle for them. It's like they never got off in the first place. So I honestly have no idea how anybody can score double digits against Mark, but these guys can do it, and it frankly astounds me.
Crazy.
Oh, did I let one slip?
Huh? Oh,
Did I
no,
let
no,
one
no.
slip?
Okay.
Okay.
No. Hackdog in chat is talking about a game that he feels is D3, but he's using the F word to describe it.
Oh goodness, sorry. Okay, anyway, back to and we have a couple more pilots to round up our DCL recap. We got 50 matches out of Jedi Luke.
Impressive.
It is 35-3 against gold pilots this week. And on that long list of accomplishments is holding gold pilots to 10 points or less. He's done that 5 times against Cyrus, twice to Diablo, and once against Bahamut and Dracona. Has held silver pilots to 5 points or less, has done that twice to Melvin, 3 times to Lady Silver, and once against Warmaster and Vaniac. And has held gold pilots to 5 points or less, twice against Dracona, twice to Bahamut, twice to Morphod,
Jeez.
and once against Cyrus.
That's
Has
domination.
shut out an established pilot, Phyrix, once. That means that what I've just basically told you is that 42% of all of the matches that Jedi Luke has played against gold, his opponent has not managed to score more than 10 points.
That's crazy.
If you count all of the matches, that number goes up to 48%. So some people would say, LOL, those 3 losses. I say, look at that dominant performance. And then finally, we got Mark 39-2 with 15 matches this week. He's 9-1 against gold, and we know who the one is.
Yes.
Has held gold pilots to 10 points or less. Once against Cyrus, once against Dracona, twice to Behemoth, who actually showed up and played a couple of matches this week. Has held silver pilots to 5 points or less, once against Lady Silver and once against Melvin.
I got twice and
has
twice.
held gold pilots to 5 points or less. Sorry.
I got twice and twice to Lady Silver and Melvin.
Did you see the cutoff? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hold gold.
Should include the cutoff.
Holding gold to 5 points or less. Has done that twice to Diablo. And with that loss to DJ CJR is the end of the second longest gold streak in TCL history. That is a 61-day reign. Over 90 matches, 67 against gold. 2 of those matches were within 2 points. 17 of those matches were between 11 and 17 points on his opponent. 23 of those matches he has held a gold pilot to 10 points or less. And 4 of those matches, including 2 in the last week, he has held his opponent to 5 points or less. So, some significant ladder history being made, but it was constantly being written each week. That story is now closed, and now the opportunity for a new reign begins. I'm certain that DJ will definitely put up a challenge against anybody he defends number 1 spot against. The question is, will he be able to keep up the activity? I mean, I think he could stretch it out for 90 days, but for 60 days, but I don't think he can meet the level of activity Mark did.
Yeah, that's that. Not just Mark. I mean, there's a ton of top pilots playing a ton of games. I mean, he's going to have to take some more challenges from the likes of Cyrus and likely Jedi Luke, and I'm sure
DJ has no problem accepting it.
I have no problem accepting them, but yeah, I mean they'll be there, and they're going to be difficult matches for him. I know he's a very good pilot, but Cyrus has already shown this past week that DJ is not infallible.
Oh, certainly not.
So,
anyway, we peasants, I guess I'm not part of the peasants anymore. I have to start acting like a petty lord.
After last week?
Yes.
After last week, you're like in prison.
Nobles can be arrested.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But either way, it's always fun to see, the top of the ladder become turbulent. Just because it shows us that there's nobody who is perfect at the game, and that there's still an opportunity, a chance to get to that level of play. There's still a vulnerability to exploit. There's still an opening for you to get in there and, try to eke out a victory against these excellent pilots. So, and it only reaffirms just the radically different play styles of the people who have been number one, of why it is that I feel that this game is a supreme esport for one-on-one. That's all I got for DCL, folks.
And of course, the highlight of the week will be that match, DJ CJR 22-20 over Mark 39-2 in Fused. There are demos from both sides, so definitely something you may want to check out. So, also, of course, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, Soul Contingency released yesterday, Friday the 15th. You can check that out over at soul-contingency.com, and it is free. I forgot to mention that. They've released this for free. You don't have to pay a dime. You just go in, you play.
What?
Yeah. It's
Soul Contingency is free to play?
The Proving Grounds, yeah, it's free to play. You just download it and install, and boom, you're done. You just go ahead and start playing. It's very awesome. So, very cool. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this week.
Is that all we got?
That is all we have. We didn't have a whole lot of news. But...
Fortunate that our original itinerary got derailed. Nonetheless, we thank you, your wonderful viewers, for hanging with us and dealing with me. But of course, I won't be around for the next couple of weeks. Reminder, we are looking for replacement Jimmy Russells on the show here. So just looking for somebody to cover me for a couple of weeks and keep Ronkley company. Please reach out to Ronkley if you are interested in being a guest host for the next couple of shows.
Don't I look lonely?
Anyhow, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or confessions, otherwise, feel free to email us at emails@selfdestructsequence.org. And be certain to know whether or not you wish to remain anonymous, or whether you wish to be identified while we make fun of you on the air. Other contact info, we can be found on Facebook. We can be found on Twitch at SDS Podcast, on Twitter at SDS_activated, or you can find all of this information on selfdestructsequence.org.
And, of course, we're going to be coming at you every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, and as I found out, 9:30 Greenwich time. So definitely check us out right here on twitch.tv/SDS Podcast. Of course, our status of our iTunes page, we have the previous 6 episodes that aren't there are ready to go, and I'm actually, my plans were to do them after this episode, so those will be up today. Hopefully we'll get this one up as well very soon. So if you check out our podcast over on iTunes, you can subscribe to it and give a rating and review, and you'll be able to have access to all of our past episodes. And if you're wanting to get back into the original game Descent 1, well, we've got the link for you. You can head over to the DCL. That's at descentchampions.org/new_player.php, and you can find all the information that you need to get back into the modern game. Be sure to watch Facebook and Twitter for our next stream, and that's going to do it. For the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast, I am Ronkley.
And I'm not going to be here for the next couple weeks.
And I'll see you then.